Welcome to Warriors TV. I'm Tim Roy. It's time now for the 2013 playoff preview, and how nice does that sound? I am joined by our colleagues on both the TV and radio. That is Jim Barnett immediately to my left, and then my radio partner Tom Tolbert for the first round, where the Warriors go to Denver to open up the 2013 playoffs. And guys, first of all, it's just great to say the Golden State Warriors are in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, and a very promising young team. This won't be the last that we'll see of them there.
Yes. I hate when people go.
I'll remember that for the future. Tom, tell me about Jim's point. It looks like this is a team that is set to go on a run, that we might be able to do this year after year after year over the next 5.
Well, I think the pieces are there, and I think this is the most balanced team they've had in quite some time. You'd love to see Andrew Bogut stay healthy, but they have a point guard, a 6'7" off guard, a center, a power forward, an athletic wing, and a bench. You know, the We Believe year was fun. The crowd was crazy. The basketball they played was fun. It was frenetic. It was chaotic. But that was a team you looked at and said the shelf life on this is maybe a couple years, and they never really had a chance to win a championship. This team, you look at the building blocks and you say, wow, they have a lot of pieces. They're young. They're going to grow. So I think this is a team you look at and try to project in the future how well they can be. But you know what? Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. It's fun to just have them in the playoffs again.
And we'll break down the Denver series coming up in a little while. But right now, let's talk about the Western Conference playoffs. And let's start with the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have a storyline now with Houston dropping to the 8th spot. James Harden goes in there. Tom, I'll lead off with you. Does that put extra pressure on Harden going back to Oklahoma City in the first round?
I don't know. I think he's probably used to it by now, being the leader of that team, trying to do a lot of the heavy lifting scoring-wise. I think it'll be an entertaining series. It'll be that, along with the Warriors and Nuggets, are going to be the two most entertaining series in the first round. I just think the way they play, they're just not good enough to beat the Thunder. The Thunder are just too deep for them, too good for them. It'll be fun. They may win a game in Houston, but I think after that it'll be too much Thunder.
I think it's going to be an entertaining series, but it could be very well a 4-game series. Oklahoma City is that good.
Yeah.
They're just too good. I mean, you go to the finals the year before. Houston just does not have enough. And Oklahoma City just keeps coming at you. They are relentless, and they are talented.
Yeah, you start with Durant and Westbrook, but I think the most underrated player in the league is Serge Ibaka.
Serge Ibaka, he can play with any center in the league, and he can score better than most centers in the league. His outside shot, he's made over 23s this year.
Right.
He's extended his shooting range. A few years ago, he wouldn't even shoot from beyond 12 feet. Great shot blocker, understands the game, has good hands. I love big men who have good hands and know how to play the game.
Let's talk about San Antonio and the Lakers. Lakers come in, no Kobe. San Antonio's banged up. But, Tom, do the Lakers have a chance in that series?
Well, if they had Steve Nash, I would say maybe. But without Nash and without Kobe, I just don't know how far Blake and Meeks are going to get you. Now, Blake's had 2 really good games since Kobe's gone down against the Spurs and the Rockets. The chance they'll have is if every night Dwight Howard and Pau Gasol get you a combined 50 and 25. I mean, they're going to have to dominate inside. If Parker is healthy, he didn't play very good against the Lakers this past Sunday. If he's healthy, they're too much for him. I mean, I think they are, but it will be intriguing because I don't know that they're going to be able to match up with Pau Gasol, who's been playing fantastic, and Dwight Howard, who put up monster numbers. I think it was like 26 and 17 against the Spurs on Sunday. If they do that, maybe they have a chance, but I still think the Spurs are too strong.
Are Tim Duncan and Tiago Splitter better than Dwight Howard and Pau Gasol?
No.
I don't think so.
They're not.
Okay?
Not now.
Now, Tony Parker, we know what he does. He's a great penetrator. That's where he really hurts people. He scores in the paint all the time on fast break layups. Can he do that against an inspired Dwight Howard and Pau Gasol? I'm not sure. I'm looking at this. It could be an upset. I'm going to take the Lakers in this series.
Wow.
Because I just think that you're not going to have to get all the scoring from the backcourt of Blake and Meeks and whomever they put back there. If they defend Tony Parker, I think Gasol and Howard, the way they've been playing late in this season and now without Kobe, they have free reign to go. So I think that's an upset in the making.
I'm going to politely disagree with you because I don't think they can defend Tony Parker. I don't think their guard line can do that. The 4-5 series, it's kind of like 2 guys on the same block. They've seen each other before, Jim, and it's going to get a little nasty between Memphis and the LA Clippers.
But I think the Clippers, they dominated in the regular season 3-1. And with Chris Paul, they've got the front line with Gasol, Randolph to compete with the front line of the Clippers. But the backcourt can't compete with Chris Paul. He's the X factor, and he's going to be the difference maker.
This one, to me, is about pace. If they play the full 94 feet and then the Clippers are allowed to get out and run and throw their lobs and get going, it's their series. If Memphis can grind them down and hold it into the 80s and low 90s, I think they have a really good shot at winning this one. I mean, Memphis is really good defensively. They run their offense. They're like an old-school NBA team in that they truly go inside out. They run everything through Gasol and Randolph. And if those guys are able to dictate the tempo, I think Memphis takes this. In fact, I will pick Memphis. I think Memphis will win this series.
Here's a question I have about Memphis. They traded Rudy Gay, like him or not like him. But to me, he was the guy that you could always go to with the game on the line for the Grizzlies. Who takes that last shot now? Either one of you guys.
I would run it through Gasol. I mean, because he's a guy that can score for you. Now, he's not an elite scorer on the block, but he will make the right decision. Like, he's good enough if you don't double team him, he can score down there and get to the free throw line. And that's something that they have an advantage over just about every team. Both their big guys shoot 80% plus from the free throw line. Most teams don't have that. But he's also a very good passer. And if guys spot up and get open, he can find cutters and he can find shooters. So while you may not give the ball to Gay because he is gone, I still think Gasol is a very good option for them.
And if they don't slow it down and they run a lot, they have a player named Darrell Arthur who is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He's big. He's fast, and I've always been intrigued because in all these series, it just takes one player that you don't think about who has a couple of big games, and he changes the series. And he could be one of those players that does that, hits a big shot to win a game for him. That's just something that you keep in the back of your mind. But I'm still going to go with the Clippers.
That's Jim Barnett along with Tom Tolbert. I'm Tim Roy. Now we send our attention to the Eastern Conference, or as we like to call it, the Miami Heat Invitational. It's like the Heat Classic. You know, they invite three teams they know they can beat, and then they crown themselves champion. To me, that's the way I look at it. I mean, Jim, is there a team that can come out of the East and challenge Miami?
I believe the Eastern Conference Finals will come down to Miami and Indiana. If New York wins their first round series and Indiana wins theirs, those two teams will play. I believe Indiana can prevail over New York. Miami's going to prevail over anyone, and when it gets down to the Eastern Conference Finals, I don't think Indiana's going to be an exception. Paul George can play. They've got a big man up front, and
Roy Hibbert.
And Indiana, it can compete, but I don't think they can beat Miami because LeBron will not let you lose.
How important time is it for Indiana to keep Lance Stevenson from making any kind of gesture at LeBron as he did last year?
I would just say, just let him go about his business. Yeah. He's already fully engaged and motivated in every single game. I think the Knicks have an outside chance. I really do. They're not as good. I don't think they're as good defensively as Indiana. But what they have is a player in Carmelo Anthony that could win a game for you. Maybe two, the way he's been playing. I mean, he can go out there and get you 40 points. Now, it's still a long shot. Miami is so good offensively and so good defensively. And LeBron is just, he's above everyone else. I mean, Kevin Durant has had a fantastic year. LeBron's still the MVP, clearly, in my mind. So it's going to take something special to happen. And I think to have that, you need a player capable of providing you a couple special games, and I think Carmelo would be that player, although I'm still taking the Heat in the East.
Well, coming up, we're going to break down the series you want to hear about, the Warriors and the Denver Nuggets. But a reminder that if you're interested in playoff tickets, complete information can be found at Warriors.com or by calling 1-888-GSW-HOOP. The Warriors are also giving away 2 free playoff tickets each day through different social media channels as part of their playoff tickets scavenger hunt. Once again, complete details found at Warriors.com.